about life and business because we are both entrepreneurs, which we're going to talk about in our second half tonight. But then we just kind of really connected as a father because our guest tonight is Justin Campen, and he is the father of four. We're going to talk about that and all the dynamics that surround that with him on a daily basis while being an entrepreneur and making a living for his family. After spending 15 years of his career, Justin was in the corporate business at one time and the leadership of that corporation. His spirit, his entrepreneurial spirit, just became so involved with people and trying to help them with their brand and help them get along, But then things at a corporate just didn't work out for him, and he found himself at age 34 building his own business. He identifies his core values as faith, family, commitment to excellence, integrity, and honesty from day one. That's whether you're starting today in a new business or not, right, Justin?
Absolutely,
So
sir.
I
Absolutely,
can tell
man.
you, I am so excited to have my friend Justin Campen with us, and we're going to know about all he does to help so many people and people I know personally that he is helping build their brand. But we're going to first talk about fatherhood. And one of his, actually, I was looking at some of the reviews for you, Justin, and one particular lady, Christina, says, Justin's a man of excellence, integrity, honesty, and he's totally committed to success. And that comes with fatherhood, right?
Yes, sir.
Welcome,
yes,
ladies
sir.
and gentlemen, to my friend, Justin Campen. Welcome to the show, The Dad Connection, Justin. It's good to have you tonight.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it, man. Very excited to talk to the 108 Praise Radio crew and happy to be hanging out with you tonight, Keith, and looking forward to just chatting with you, man. It's going to be good.
Well, Justin, I want to get right into it because I tell you, as we were talking about earlier, time will get away from us very quickly here. But the heartbeat of my show, which is another venue of Dads for Life, which you know a lot about and know the brand that we're building here. But as part of the Dad Connection, we like to talk about dads and fatherhood. But then I find out that a lot of single moms are following what we're doing as we are helping them as well. So let's talk about fatherhood, though. I know you have four, so this is the next few moments of your introduction. I'd like you to just tell us a little bit about Justin and also about these wonderful kids I hear so much about.
All right, yeah, I got a house full. So we're a family of six around here. I have four young, incredible kids. I have two boys and two girls, starting from age 13, 11, 9, and 6. And they went girl, boy. And, when I first started having kids, I was probably like most men. I was dead set on having a boy. I thought it was like, give me my boy, and I'm going to have a little mini Justin that I can roll around with. And here comes this girl, this amazing girl, right? And I'm blonde, obviously blonde and blue-eyed, and my daughter came out with jet black hair, and I'm like, what happened? Who's this, right? But she quickly grew into the most incredible set of blonde curly locks like you'd never seen before, and it looked like Shirley Temple except better. And this cute little thing just took over my heart. I thought girls are it, man. Just give me a whole bunch of girls, and I'll just take girls for the rest of my life. And then I had a boy. And then at that point, I realized, you know what? Boys are quite a unique gem in themselves. And at that point, I'm just like, I'll take whatever I can get because they're both equally fabulous. So I've got a busy household as these four young kids, you can imagine. But they're all each very much their own person. They have their own unique interests, and it's really, really cool just being a part of their life and guiding them in the direction that we know the Lord has planned for them.
Well, Justin, I know that you're quite involved, being an involved dad, and that's what I'm always about is making sure that dads find that time that they need with their kids. But when you have four of them, and as we were just talking about a friend of mine that has 9 of them, he finds time with them individually and as a group because you want to do the full family dynamics, but you have that individual time because they have individual personalities, right? So how do you navigate that with the 4? Because they're pretty close in age by a few years.
Yep.
So how do you do that?
Yeah, it can be challenging, man. Even though they're almost every one of them are 2 years apart, the boys are actually 5 years apart, and the girls are 4 years apart. So it's challenging to have similar interests because of their age span. And like you say, we have a family of 6, and we're busy, and our time is limited. So we do a lot as a family together. We're a very active family. We do family bike rides, and we go to the beach, and we spend a lot of time in the water, and very, very active outdoorsy family. But like you said, with 4 kids and so many different ages, it's really important to me that each one of the kids gets specific time with me and specific time one-on-one, so I can just hear what's going on with them. And a lot of it's just to find out what's going on in the world, but also a lot of it's just to allow that open door conversation so they can just talk to me and just tell me what's on their heart. So every single week I do dad dates that I call them. And I'll tell you, this is probably one of the most favorite things that I have about being self-employed, because when I worked in the corporate business, I was working 80 hours a week. I was buried. And even when I was home, I wasn't home because I was active and on call and always on the phone. And that was one of my passions, one of my drivers for me to want to start my own business, because I was missing so much of my kids' childhood. I was missing birthday parties. I was missing dance recitals and football games. And there's so much of their lives that was important to them. I was missing a lot of that because I was stuck to this corporate environment. So now that I found myself in a position where I'm able to control my own schedule, run my own business, I do what I call dad dates every single week. And every single week I take one kid out and I just take them for the evening. And I usually pick them up after school, but we just got
on the calendar. So you make sure that these are scheduled, and you're teaching these kids values early in life, how to organize their lives, because as well as I do, Justin, in today's society, we are going and going and coming and going, and we're meeting each other halfway in the middle. I mean, it's crazy what life can. What personally I went through recently, and how things can just turn you around in your whole week, 2 weeks, up to 3 weeks was just totally in disarray. But with God, he brought me through and my family through that. And same thing with kids. When they go through difficult times, you bring faith into that, don't you, with them?
Mm-hmm. Yes, absolutely. And to your point with the calendar, I think one thing that's really, really important for kids is I think they like to know what to expect. I think consistency is incredibly important, and it's especially things that are important to them. And so, I did this. I started this actually about 6-7 months ago. And a lot of it was because I could tell that my kids were wanting one-on-one time. So we were actually planning one-on-one time just kind of sporadically. We were like, next week we'll plan something for you. And the next following week we'll plan something for you. And there was no structure to it. So that's when I decided to actually plan a specific day of the week. So it's it's every Wednesday. Every Wednesday afternoon, I cut my schedule off at noon every single day, or every single Wednesday, and I block that entire afternoon time just for that kid. So my kids, it's all written right here on my schedule, and they're all written dad date every single day, and I got their names, so my kids can walk into my office and look right at my calendar, and they can look at which dates are theirs on the calendar, and they can plan that weeks and months ahead, and they can look forward to that and know when that date's coming, and I never change it. It's always there, and I always stick to it for them.
Wow. That is so important to be able to do things like that. And we as parents, we have to make sure that we organize our own lives so we can help them organize theirs, right? So, well, going back to that, though, when something interrupts that calendar, is the point I was going to get to there, but I see how you kind of tie everything together. But if something happens, we're able to teach our kids about life, that things happen, right? So how do you talk to them about that? Or if they say, well, where's God in this situation? It's interrupted my whole day or week or whatever. So.
It's challenging. It is, and it's more challenging with some of my children than others, because the younger they are, the harder it is for them to get past their own sight line, you know what I mean? Like when they're younger, their world revolves around their 2-foot space, and it's instant, and it's right now. And the older they get, they can understand that stuff happens. So, thankfully, throughout the time that I've been doing this, I haven't had to shift it much because I'm pretty structured with my time, which allows me to be flexible. But I have had a couple situations where something has come up that was serious, or circumstance came about that I had to shift, or I had to cancel one week and shift it to another. And I just have a simple conversation with the children, and I just call them. And again, I knowing that the kids know what to expect. If I have to have that conversation, I'll just talk to them and say, hey, this is what happened this week. We're not going to be able to do our dad date this next week. This is why. This is what's happened. This is why my attention needs to go to this thing. But we're going to schedule you for next week, and I promise that's going to be your day. And that's it. Life happens. Things don't always go how we want to go. And I'm very straightforward person. Keith, you know me well, man. I shoot straight with my crew. I shoot straight with my team. I shoot straight in my business, and I shoot straight with my kids. I don't sugarcoat stuff. I just tell them this is how it is. This is what I expect. This is what I need from you. This is what you can expect from me. And they don't ever have to wonder. They don't ever have to wonder what I'm thinking. They don't have to ever wonder if they're in trouble. If they're in trouble, you're going to know it. You don't ever have to wonder if I'm mad at you or upset with you. If you're in trouble or if I'm upset with you, you're going to know it. So I try to be as transparent with my children as possible. I encourage them to ask questions because I want them to wonder, and I want them to think, and I want them to brainstorm. And if they have a question about something that I'm doing or something I've done or something that's going on in the world, I want them to be able to just get those thoughts out and ask questions. So I have a lot of good conversations with my kids that start out with, hey, Dad, I had a question. And sometimes you never know what's going to come out, you know. Sometimes it's why is the sky blue, and sometimes it's a lot deeper and a little bit more intense, and I have to think for a second and answer carefully. So, yeah, that's just the pleasure of having children that are curious, I suppose.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, it's amazing. And for whether you have one child or have, 5 or 9, like my friend Billy does, it's a balancing act, just like life is a balancing act. And you've got to, and things happen, you just have to readjust those days. You have something planned. But it's important to teach kids about that. Just want to remind everybody, we are the Dad Connection radio show. We are part of dadsforlife.org, which is an organization that has a message to fathers, but we also, our message is now expanding to just about everyone that we can reach and teach and encourage, enhance the lives of others. So anyway, so we wanted to come back to you now, Justin. I want to talk a little bit about your one child. I remember you saying something that wants to be an entrepreneur, or he's excited about you being an entrepreneur. He thinks you're a big TV show host or something like that. I want to hear this story because it is so encouraging. It is so encouraging.
Yeah, this is my son Ethan. All right, my son Ethan. He's 11, and he's been my main man. He's been my buddy since he was this little guy. And he's always just want to do whatever Dad's doing, and always curious about me, and always asks a lot of questions. And I think when it really sparked for him that I was doing something different, that was unconventional, and something that not most people do or not most dads do, was when I wrote my first book, Stepping Stones. I wrote my first book last year. It was in May of 2016, and I wrote this book. And I remember when I got my first hard copy in, and I was proofreading it, and my son was looking at it, and he's like, "Dad, that's got your name on it." And I flipped the book over, and it's got my picture on it. And he's a reader. He loves reading. And he was looking at this book, and he was just intrigued by this book. He's like this is, you're really on this book. I'm like, I know, I wrote it. And so he was going through, and he asked if he could have a copy of it. And so absolutely. So I signed it, wrote him a message in it, on the inside cover for him, telling him to follow his dreams and that he could be anything he ever wanted to be, And my book is geared for entrepreneurs, and it's called Stepping Stones because it guides entrepreneurs step by step through the process of building a business from the ground up into a powerful and profitable brand. And so it's got workbook exercises. It has questions. It has a lot of challenging exercises in it that force you to think and who you really are and what you really want to be. And so he took a copy of my book and he started going through it. And this is that he was 10 years old at the time, and he was going through the questionnaires, and he's trying to answer these questions for himself. And of course, they're not easy questions. I mean, I'm like, one of the questions is, tell me what the ROI is for someone who's going to invest in you, return on investment. And so he's trying to decipher what that means in his own way. But he actually went through my whole workbook, and he's got his whole copy that's got chicken scratch information, and he's got dreams and things that he's going to do in this thing. But it really started there. And then after that time, or right around that time, is when I had gotten introduced to Periscope. And so I was broadcasting every single day on Periscope. And when I first got going in this thing, the kids were kind of like, oh, whatever, Dad's just doing his thing in the office where he's talking to whoever on the phone. They didn't really get it. But then it got to the point where they started jumping on my scope, so they'd watch with my wife's phone, and they'd actually sit and watch my broadcast, and they'd see the numbers, the hundreds and thousands of people that were watching me. And they're like, like he's like on TV. This is like a TV thing, right? And then I started getting some attention for it. I started getting some interviews and different things started happening. So my son now has grown into thinking that I am just the most popular thing on the planet. And he thinks, like my poster, he thinks is incredible because he walks up and stands up next to my poster and it's this life-size thing. And he thinks it's nuts. And he loves, my logo. I have my JC logo on everything. I have a clothing line that I've created too. So he has a hat of mine, he has shirts of mine that have my logo on them. And he's just really intrigued with the entrepreneurial spirit. But you know what, man, I love it because school system doesn't teach that, man. College doesn't teach entrepreneurial spirit. The school system doesn't teach you that you can go the unconventional way and you can follow your dreams and you can become whatever you want to become. Our school system teaches our kids that you go to school, you learn the basic principles, you go out and get a real job, and you follow the step-by-step process that life throws at you. And most kids these days aren't being taught that, if you can think big, dream big, you can go after it if you put your mind to it. And so I love that my son has that spark in him, and I can feed that. I mean, I imagine he's 11 years old now. I've got some years with this kid, man. And by the time he's 18, Lord knows where I'll be in 8 years, and I can just pour into him and help him be whatever he wants to be.
That's so true, Justin. And that was the point I was going to get to. Things like this are not taught parents in the school system. I was a police officer in the school for 18 years on a daily basis, and for 30 years of my law enforcement career. That was the best years of my life, and are the best years of my career because I was involved in these kids' lives. And they wanted drama, but nobody would teach it. So I stepped up to the plate. I taught it. I showed them about acting. I showed them about producing. I took them backstage. I built a team because kids are like, this is really cool, right? Mm-hmm. Well, now one of them is an actual director of big plays and everything. So it works, to be able to do this, to be able to teach them this, teach them about goals, parents, teach them about life experiences. And I just believe in that so strongly. And you showed that as example because now you're teaching him about things that he'll never learn in school.
Yeah,
I taught finances to students because schools don't teach that, right?
Right, exactly right. And there's so much to building a business too that isn't really about the business. It's more about you as a person. It's personal development aspects of it, and your thought process and your mindset and the power of your spoken word. The Bible talks about it over and over and over. As a man thinketh, so is he. And speaking those things that are not as though they are. And we don't. Our kids don't learn this stuff. They don't learn how to speak life into their business or speak life into their life and how to challenge the negative thoughts that come in. And you look at, people that are, our amount of youth that are struggling with teen suicide. And you think about these young kids that end up taking their own life because of the environment, the bullying, and people telling them that they're ugly and they're fat and they won't amount to anything and they don't have any friends and nobody likes you. And the way our subconscious is wired, that it's like sticking a tape recording in the back of your head, and they're just replaying those thoughts in their mind until they change the tape, until somebody teaches them how to change that out and actually speak some life into the world and delete and cancel those thoughts from their minds. And I just think, man, if we could just teach our children how to understand the power of their thoughts and the power of their words and how that plays a part into their happiness and their success, it's amazing. So I call it the conscious language. I teach my kids the conscious language. I teach them, to be very, very careful and intentional with the words that they're saying and choosing. And when they get negativity from the friends or people at school, how to delete and cancel it from their mind and focus on the good. And it's all stuff that it's really, really powerful. And I'm so glad that I'm in a position I could teach my kids at a young age.
Absolutely, Justin. I did that with my daughter. I taught her about goal setting. At 11 years old, she wrote them on a 3x5 card, what she wanted to do. And I looked at it, one of them that she wrote, and I said, what's this jumping out of an airplane? She said, I want to go parachuting. But in parentheses, in parentheses it said dad, with dad.
Dad.
You're not, we're not jumping out of an airplane today. You're 11 years old.
Yeah.
She said, oh, I know.
Yeah.
When I get older. And 10 years later, she did that. She set us a reservation. And we both jumped out of an airplane. I'm going I had to keep my word, right? I told her I would do it. But,
I love it, man.
It's amazing what we can teach them. And years later, we took her on a Venezuela trip, to missions trip. She became lover of missions now. You know, she can travel the world and does that. So it's just really neat what we can do, parents, as a teaching our kids young about some life skills like that they're never going to learn in school. Justin, we got just about 5-6 minutes before we go into our first break. I want to talk a little bit about your business, and when we come back, we're going to share a little bit more like that. But what is it that Justin Campen does? I mean, I know you help build brands, and it's so important to build brands in a child. Build them, let them know that they can build their life centered around God now, and it's going to save them a lot of trouble down the road, right? I know you do that as a dad at home, but what do you do for folks? I mean, you've got a dad that's struggling or a mom that's struggling to make ends meet, but yet they have a dream. I know that you do that. You help bring that to pass. Give us a little tidbits before we go into our first break, and we'll come back and you can share a little bit of your website.
My title, my business, I'm the founder and president of JC Pro Signature Brands, and we build brands, we build businesses, but a lot of people don't understand the terminology of branding or what it really means. But essentially, my mission and my goal is to find individuals that have a passion that God has laid on their heart, and I help them bring that thing to life. I ask people all the time, do you have a fire burning inside of you? I think everybody at some point in time in their life has a fire that's burning inside of them where they just feel like they want to burst out. They just want to accomplish something more. They have a dream of something. They have an idea. They have a vision to accomplish something. But most people get that fire and they have no idea where to start or how to get it. And I believe that fire, that passion in you is flammable, and I want to light it on fire. And so my mission is just to grab a hold of those folks that are in that position, that are ready to do something and are ready to build something and are ready to take control of their own life and start thriving instead of just surviving. And I want to help them bring that thing to life. And there's a process and a structure to it, which we can share in the second half. But that's really it. Is I just help people turn their passions into a real profession they can make a living off of.
So, but I have a full-time job, you know, how am I going to do that, right? I mean, that's some of the things I've heard, you know, how am I going to fulfill a dream that I feel God has laid upon me if I'm still working a full-time job just to make ends meet? I mean, do you have a process for that as well?
Yeah, you got to work your butt off. Yeah, it's not easy. And I won't tell you that it's going to be easy either, but I'll share with you some of the stuff that I did when I first got started, but I've heard it time and time again, all the reasons people tell me all the reasons why they can't. But then I can also share with you time after time and again, all the people who did, because they made a decision to take action and press through the difficulty, press through the challenge, and press through the adversity to make it happen and see it through. And it really lies in your hands.
Well, we look forward to hearing a little bit more about that. So, ladies and gentlemen, I am Keith Jowers, the host of the Dad Connection radio show, which is part of the Dads for Life.org mandate that we've been given to or by God to reach out and teach out to dads. We started, you know, Justin, with just 4 dads. I mean, that's where it come from, Dads for Life, right? And now we're reaching just thousands across the world, which is just really, really, it's nothing I've done. I won't take any credit for any of that. My wife won't take any credit, even though I can't do it without her. I will tell you that.
Yeah, that's
amazing
right there.
Person when it comes to this old online stuff. But I tell you, I just appreciate what God's done for just the dream I had. I was a young divorced dad, didn't know which way to go, Justin. And, you know, God just showed me when I come out of that courtroom, I said, I will never leave my daughter. I won't leave God. I won't leave my daughter. I'm not saying I won't make mistakes, Lord, but I did what I had to do, and that was stay involved in her life. And today, Dads for Life now is 14 years old, and we're still growing as a nonprofit to reach and teach. So awesome. We just appreciate everyone that comes into our network and meeting folks like yourself as we did, and you know, we made connections, and you've even helped to give us some insight as to what we could do to take our vision a little further. So we're excited about having you on the show tonight. We're going to be back with Justin Campen of JustinCampenPro.com. We'll be sharing that with you just for a few moments when I come back so we can talk about that. And then we're going to get back into actually talking about what about your dream, Mom and Dad, and how far you can take it. You just never know until you try. So as we go into the break, ladies and gentlemen, it is out. It is out, Justin. Officer Keith,
hey, I love
Canine Friends is out. This is book 2 of our Officer Keith series, and we're very excited about some of the reviews we're already getting from kids. So we're excited about that. So Hope you can grab that on Amazon along with Officer Keith, the first one, where we talk about positive things with police officers today, teaching our kids that we're not all bad like the media is trying to make us. And parents, if you need to just connect with your kids, here's a little journal, Daily Connections, that you can find on Amazon as well. It's a 30-day journal trying to help you connect with your kids. We get a lot of good reviews on that one as well. So we'll be right back on the Dad Connection as we enter this break here at 108PraiseRadio.com. If you've got a question for Justin, you can call in at 770-415-2149. That's 770-415-29. Maybe share a little bit what you're trying to do and see if he can lead and guide you there. And we'll be right back on 108 Praise Radio in just a few moments. We'll be right back. Thank you. Hey, everybody. This is Keith Jowers, the host of the Dad Connection Radio Show. We're right here live at 108PraiseRadio.com. You know, we're so excited about just the way we are growing here at 108 Praise Radio, and I appreciate the listenership that we're building here, the station. So if you have any interest in maybe becoming a radio host, just reach out to 108PraiseRadio.com. Courtney and the staff would love to talk to you. If you want to come into the show tonight and talk to Justin, maybe have a question for him, you can call us at area code 770-415-2149. And you can catch us live right now on Facebook and YouTube. And I think we are going to go right back in and talk to Justin right now about what he's doing to help people grow and build their brand. We have parents out there who are trying to build a brand on the side so they can get more out of life. Justin, how do you do that?
Well, it's as I said right before the break, you got to work your butt off, and that's a very real statement. But what I mean by that is not just spinning your wheels, but being incredibly intentional with your time. And I will not sugarcoat anything. When you want to build a business, especially when you're working a 9 to 5, you need to take the time that you have available outside of your 9 to 5 and be incredibly intentional with it. When I first started my business, the first 45 days I was in business, I was working on average 18 hours a day, 7 days a week, and trying to establish something, because building a business, not only do you have to build a structure and a foundation for a sustainable long-term business plan, but you also need cash flow, right? You need to have an opportunity where you can generate income to operate that business as you're growing it. So there's really a two-part strategy in identifying whatever your skill set is, whatever your vision is, whatever your dream is to build, and establishing how you can generate short-term cash flow to keep your business, keep your lifestyle afloat, while also building something that you can sustain and generate long-term passive income that's going to allow you to live some freedom that you so truly desire, because you'll never be able to get out of that 9 to 5 and live that free lifestyle by operating off of pennies and daily cash flow. It needs to be something to give you some longevity down the road. So there's structure to it. There's planning to it. It really depends on the business that you're after and whatever it is that you're trying to create. But that's usually how I establish the first piece of the foundation, is really divvying up those two avenues, cash flow versus long-term business plan.
Well, I'd like to share your website for just a moment here and just kind of give them a glimpse of what you do and how you can help them. So let us know when you can see this. Justin, that means the ladies and gentlemen out there can also see it. So
yep, I can see it. Looks good, sir.
There you are. How do you feel looking at yourself right now? You know, but
I look at this stuff all day long, so I'm very used to it.
Yeah, tell us just real quick how people can navigate this to try to learn a little bit more about you.
Yeah, when you land on my homepage, you can click around to some of my different things here. I have testimonials on the homepage. You can sign up for my email list, which I do a lot of training and exclusive offers. I have my testimonials there on my homepage where you can hear some different things about what people have said with working with me. If you scroll back up to the top, Keith, you've got services. You got my About Me section. If you hit, that'll tell you my bio. If you hit on mentoring will take you to pretty much a page that just highlights all the different areas that I can help with. I do branding, I do accountability mentoring. I have several clients that I work with that have a sustainable business flowing already, but they need help with personal development. So I coach and mentor business owners on a weekly basis with accountability. I coach people using live stream strategy. I do business mentoring for growth strategy. I do that for individuals and large teams. But I've been doing graphic design for almost 20 years. So I do logo design, graphic design. I do website design. I design my own website. But there's really a vast number of ways that I can really help individuals build their businesses. But what I try to put together for the individuals that connect with me, Keith, is I try very much to be a go-to person, one-stop shop for everything that you need and nothing that you don't when you're building a business. I'm not for everybody. It depends on your type of business and it depends on what you're trying to build. But over the years I've been in business for 2 years and 2 months. And in the 2 years and 2 months that I've worked, every single client that I've had, I've tried to identify, is what I'm providing everything that they need, or am I missing something? Is there something that needs to be added? Is there something that needs to be trimmed out from this? And over the course of the 2 years, I've really put myself together. I believe what I have is a package it's everything that you need and nothing that you don't. And it can provide you over about a 90-day period, it can build a business from nothing to a powerful income generating machine that you can continue to build your influence off of. So very strategic in the way I operate. I say every morning on Periscope, I do not waste my time, and I choose not to waste yours. Very, very intentional with my time, and I take investments in me incredibly, incredibly seriously. So I'm very much about business, very, very much about goal setting, structure, planning, and strategic action. And it takes work. It takes work, but I believe I've got a path. I believe I have a path that I've laid out for people that really seems to work. So I enjoy it, man. I love what I do.
And ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to tell you, as he has helped Dads for Life with a couple of things that we've been working on or building on. And, you just, not everybody is for everybody. God brings you connected with some people sometimes that could be that catalyst to take you into the next level that God has called you to be. And one thing, Justin, I'll just speak for you for a moment, is that you built this company based on the principles of God. Mm-hmm. And that's why I feel like personally that you're so successful and you're growing, mm-hmm. because I think, folks, when we decide that we're going to put ourselves behind us and not out in front of us all the time, and you put God out in front of you, whether it's building a radio station, whether it's building a dad's ministry, whether it's building mm-hmm. a business like you're doing for branding, whatever it is, when we put God first, He's going to multiply that, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely, man. I have a wholehearted belief that God won't take you where you don't take Him, and when you decide to leave God in the back seat and try to take the driver wheel yourself, your car's not going to go in a direction that you could if you let Him drive you. And I have interjected the Lord into my business in every aspect of my business, but I didn't start that way, and I haven't always been that way, and I've wrestled through a lot of stuff that if I had to just let God just do it His way, it'd have been a lot easier on me. I don't know why we we try to take back the reins, even though we know how the outcome usually comes out. But I can remember specific situations where I was crying out to the Lord, what is my next step? What do I need to be doing here? Am I making the right decision? Am I doing the right thing? What should I be doing here? But I find myself, and I think a lot of people can relate to this, is that we get panicked, we get overwhelmed, we get frustrated. So we spend all of our time crying out to the Lord, asking for help, begging for help, waiting for Him to show up. But at some point in time, we never shut up long enough for Him to actually show up and tell us what He wants us to tell us. And sometimes we just got to get quiet. So I tell my crew, I tell my kids, I tell a lot of different people that I work with, if you shut up, He'll show up. And sometimes we just need to get quiet to let Him speak to us and direct us in the direction that He wants to take us. And I have had moments in the Lord, some of the most key moments in my business that have allowed me to make massive growth and massive transitions in the right direction was when I was able to get quiet with the Lord and say, Lord, just show me what's my next step. Give me an idea that's anointed for breakthrough. Show me what you want me to see. Teach me what you want me to learn. Highlight something. If it's something I'm not doing well or something that I should be doing differently, show me what that is. And I've got some clear visions from the Lord on things that I should take. And the majority of the times, I had no idea what the heck I was doing. I'm like, okay, let's go. Richard Branson has a quote about entrepreneurs. It says an entrepreneur is somebody who jumps off a cliff and builds an airplane on the way down. And I think that's very much the entrepreneurial spirit. But I look at more of that is a Christian entrepreneur spirit, because the Lord wants you to take the first step, right? The world teaches us, show me and I'll trust you. And God says, trust me and I'll show you. And He wants us to take that first step so that He can show us the next and show us the next. And we tend to get in this position where we're like, well, I don't know what the whole journey is going to look like. I don't know what this whole thing's, how's it going to end, or who's going to connect with me, or what's this going to look like? What's it going to cost me? And the Lord's just saying, I just want you to take that step. I just want to take that first step, and I'll show you what the next one looks like. So I operate my business is I pronounce it boldly every single day, guys. And my business is blessed by being a blessing to others and is a testimony of God's goodness in my life. And I am faith-based and Christ-centered in everything that I do. Every morning when I share on Periscope, I actually lay hands on my phone and pray over the broadcast. I pray over every single client that I have every single day. I pray over every single phone call that I have before I have it. I think when you interject your faith into the work that you do, I think both flourish. It challenges your faith. It challenges you to be better. It challenges you to raise the bar and how you carry and how you present yourself, but it also raises your business. And I'm blessed to say that when I started my business 2 years and 2 months ago, I had limited cash flow. I had very little idea what the heck I was even going to do, and I had a mountain of adversity to face. And 2 years and 2 months later, I have an international reputation, serving hundreds of clients across 6 different countries, and every single client that I have is a Christian, and not just a Christian, but a sold-out Christian. And I have never once in my life said I only work with Christians. It's just that I just live it. I just live the Lord. I lead with the Lord, and business comes after the Father, and I because I've allowed the Lord to just saturate my business and saturate my message, it's drawn in what I would call kingdom connections of people that are just supernatural connections and relationships and amazing friendships that I've made just by serving people every day. And that's what I do. I'm a servant. I'm not a salesman. I actually hate sales. I just completely dislike selling. And I don't sell. I just serve people. I just find a need, and I do everything that I can with using the gifts that God has given me to help people and to serve people.
And I think we have to do it with excellence. When the spirit of excellence resides with what you're doing, ladies and gentlemen, whether it be building a business, building a ministry, building whatever you're building, building, something in your shop, whatever. When you do that with excellence, God will always bring it through to His point of view, how He wants it done, and that includes building your children, right? So
amen to that.
I mean, our world's a mess. Our world is a mess. If you don't know it, turn on your news for 5 seconds. You're going to see our world is a mess right now. But you know what?
We have
regardless of what your beliefs or views are, when you put God first, God is going to work it out somehow, some way, and it's not you. It's the way He wants it done. And I'm sorry, you started to say something. We're going to wrap up.
Yeah, I think we have a whole new level of challenges with our children these days, and just the age of social media, the age of phones, and I've seen in my own children that it's the generation that's upcoming right now is a generation that's grown up with a face in a phone and a face in a computer, and because they've grown up digitally and through social media, social skills are lacking significantly. Kids nowadays have a hard time just having a conversation with somebody because they're so used to texting, and with every new level, there's a new devil, right, Keith? And the devil is at work. The devil is at work in our children. And the social media environment, the digital environment in general, it just creates a mountain of opportunity for the devil just to work his way into their lives because he's got them staring at their phone all the time. And so it takes fervent prayer, man, but it also just takes the parents have got to be present, and you got to be teaching your kids the principles of the Lord and what the Lord says about them, and that they're children of the King and the Most High God, and that they wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against powers and principalities in the kingdom of darkness, and how to go to battle, how to know your enemy, and how to go to battle, applying the Scripture and using their gifts and their talents and what the Lord has blessed them with to be the individuals that they are, who they're meant to be. But I believe that my children will. If I can raise my children to be confident in who they are, and be confident in who their daddy says they are and who their God says they are, and be grounded in faith-based Christian principles, they'll make the right decisions. And
yes, they will.
And so that's what I focus on, man, because I can't be a dad bubble around them the rest of their lives, and I can't be in their corner the rest of their lives. They're going to have to face those stuff on their own. So I try to armor them up, man. Arm them up with the armor of the Lord, and send them out into that world, and hope they can make the right decisions when those tests come.
I don't think we can end it on a better note, Justin. Ladies and gentlemen, we've been talking to Justin Campen. And Justin, if somebody does want to reach out to you or connect with you, what's the best way they can do that?
They can hit my website, JustinCappenPro.com. They can learn a lot about me on that site, but there's a contact form there as well. I highly encourage you to freely use that contact form. My cell phone number is also on there. The phone number you see on that website is my cell phone number. You can text me, you can call me, you can get a hold of me. If you just want to pick my brain about your business, I'm happy to be a resource for you. If you want to talk to me about your business concept, about your idea, and you want to know how I could help, I'd love to talk to you. There's 101 things I can teach you about business, but I'm a man of God first and foremost, and I'm also just custom. All right. So what I mean by custom is that I don't try to fit you into my package or into my bubble. I want to know where you're at. I want to understand what you need help with, and I will find a way to serve you if I feel like I can. And I'm just happy to be a resource, man. Love hanging out with you, Keith, and thank you so much for this opportunity to hang out with you, man. I appreciate it, buddy.
It's been awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, we've been talking to Justin Campen of Justin Campen Pro tonight. He is, first and foremost, a man of faith, as you heard tonight, but he's also a father that cares about his children, and he cares about their friends and any child around him that he can invest in. And that's what I did as a dad, a young.
I heard a ding. Can you hear me, Keith?
Back right here on the Dad Connection. I just appreciate each and every one of you being with us. Justin, we appreciate you being with us tonight. And I just want to know that each and every one of you are going out to encourage, enhance, and enrich the life of someone today or tomorrow, making sure you start with your own children because they need it the most. And remember that home needs to be the safest place for your child to be at all times and to be able to communicate. So until next time, this is Keith Jowers with Dads for Life and the Dad Connection Radio Show. And my friend Justin Campen's been our guest tonight. We appreciate him for being with us. And so long until next time, guys. God bless each and every one of you. May the Lord be with you. Bye-bye.